pushed into that time frame and seeing what was going on during the war. It's almost as if the boat itself pretty much pulls you into that era and reveals some of its history to you.
During the USS Seeker shoot, members of the crew heard footsteps along empty corridors, and shadows appeared where there was no one standing. Watching the tapes back later, it was evident that whilst the ship may have appeared empty, it was actually full of spiritual activity. Perilous and isolated, the Oakville swamplands provide one of the creepiest locations in Ghost Hunter. The swamps are terrorized by a deadly phantom, the mutated spirit of rich landowner David de Montfort, fused for eternity with the alligator that tore away his life. Naturally, no real-world destination could be as terrifying as that nightmarish landscape. Or could it? Our team of ghost hunters were about to find out. As soon as the PlayStation filming crew set foot in the Blackland swamp, they all felt uneasy. Along with alligators and snakes, it seemed they weren't alone, and nobody wanted to linger.
What are you picking up here?
Well, I get the impression there's a lot more buried here than what I can see.
Yeah.
Sounds a silly question, but did somebody actually live here as well?
Yes, they did.
Because there's quite a lot of activity, I think, in a paranormal sense, and it's quite powerful.
This is actually a town.
Oh,
This is the town of Frenier. This entire area out here in the swamp, it was a cottage farming community. German settlers had settled the area. And one of the residents out here was a voodoo woman by the name of Julia Brown. And she was somewhat eccentric. She would sit on her front porch and sing songs, and she would always sing, "When I die, I'm going to take the whole town with me." Now, Julia Brown did eventually pass away, and mourners came from hundreds of miles away to go to this woman's funeral. It was the day that the hurricane of 1915 hit into the Pontchartrain Lake with 100-mile-an-hour winds that swept through the town of Frenier, knocking mourners, the casket, everywhere into the swamp. And then a 30-foot tidal surge literally swallowed up the whole town.
Wow.
And the Army Corps of Engineers came in, and there were no building materials. There was no town left, so they literally had to bury the entire town in a mass grave right here. Families, children, women.
There was quite an elderly woman that died as well. I felt her before, and she kept talking about Martha. And Martha seems to be, and that's not a German name, I don't think, is it? But she kept talking about Martha, so Martha is connected in some way to this.
Martha, yes.
Do you understand that?
I think that that's possible that the little girl that survived was Martha, because there were 2 survivors in the town of Frenier. An elderly black man grabbed a little girl and got inside one of the railroad boxcars, and he held on as the wind whipped through, and he held on to that little girl and he saved her. He eventually died. She grew up to marry and have family, and her family is still plagued by the ghost of Julia Brown.
Still today?
Still going after the last of the living from the town of Frenier.
Both Kalila and Billy claimed they felt the presence of spirits on the land housing the unmarked graves. For the rest of the team, they just knew it was a place they never wanted to return to again. At the end of their investigation, the ghost hunting team was still no closer to explaining the similarities between these real haunted places and locations featured in the new PlayStation game. It's a mystery, which continues to this very day.